guys, so here we are. We're going to talk about strong coloring and shading with markers and crayons. Now, one thing I've kind of used a darker marker to kind of outline with this. You can if you want to, you don't have to. I'm just going to erase a few more little lines, pencil lines I didn't want on mine. All right, gonna get those shavings off. Now, the first thing we have to decide when shading is where's our light coming from. So this is kind of a pop art style, so an art style that takes things in everyday life and make them into art, like ice cream, okay? So you don't have to do a pop art drawing for this. You can take a drawing you've done before, or maybe one of your dragon drawings. It doesn't matter. You guys can create any type of drawing to do your shading with marker and crayon with, your coloring in. So we're gonna first start by flavors here, and the light is kind of shining down on my cherry here. So my light, shining from above, and it's kind of making this kind of stand out like a spotlight. So if it's coming, my light's coming from above, see how the light's kind of coming from this way here? Then I have a shadow underneath my hand. So we're going to use our imaginations and create shadows with that. Now, because we're going to do marker and crayon with this, now you could always just do marker, you could just do crayon. I'm going to kind of switch out in between them. So here we go. If my light's shining straight down, then on my cherry, it's going to be darker at the bottom. So I'm using a little bit of darker marker here, and then I'm going to take my crayon, make sure I like the color. You can always test it on a free draw paper, and I like that. And then I'm going to take my crayon, and it's going to kind of keep it just a little bit lighter here, so it kind of goes dark to light, and then kind of have a nice light spot there on my cherry, and I can push harder down here, and I even can go back over with marker a little bit. Now, there is a reason why I did marker first, and that's because marker doesn't go over crayon very well because it's washable, so it has water in it, and crayon has wax in it, so they don't mix very well. So then I went ahead and I did marker first. All right, and the cherry stem, I'm just gonna do just kind of the brown, leave a little highlight in the stem here. Now, the first flavor is chocolate cherry for my ice cream. So I'm gonna go ahead, if my light's shining kind of straight down, it's gonna get darker down here, kind of lighter on the tops of these little cherries. So I'm kind of doing the same thing here. And then I can take my light, kind of go light here, and artists do this a lot where they kind of mix different medias, which is the tools we're drawing with, and they mix different medias together, and it's called multimedia, and media is the thing we're drawing with. I forgot to say that. All right, oh, I see one more, okay, there we go, and let's fill that baby in. Okay, perfect. Now chocolate chips. Okay, so I'm going to do the chocolate chips a little bit darker with marker, and then I'm going to do the chocolate ice cream with the crayon. Let's keep this little chocolate sprinkles here too. Okay, cool. And I could take a lighter brown and just kind of go in those little spots if I wanted to. Okay, so here we go. Then I'm going to kind of lightly color in. Now with crayon, to get shading, it's similar to colored pencil. I push harder and it gets darker. I push lighter and it gets lighter. So I'll show you on the back real quick a few things for me. Back here, I can push darker and harder and it gets darker. Go gradually lighter here because I'm lifting up the pressure I'm putting on the crayon. That's kind of how I can get shading. And then I can go back over it if I want some parts a little bit darker, kind of like that, so it goes dark to light. So we have our tints and shades, lights and darks of one color. So I'm going to keep going light here so it makes the brown stand out in the chocolate chips. So contrast. And notice I'm still coloring in the shape of my ice cream. in the shape. So I have to use my imagination to pretend like the light's shining down. So I'm doing a little bit darker here just to kind of create a shadow in some areas. Okay, not pushing down too hard, but a little. All right, and then I have a little shading going on there. Oh, let's get this little guy right there. Okay, now the next flavor is Oreo. Yum. Okay, so for my Oreos here, I'm gonna start with a little bit of marker just in the spots I want it to be a little bit darker. And so I'm just gonna do a little tiny bit here because this is a powerful color. It can take over, and I want to add some lights and darks in my Oreo. So I'm just going to do a little bit here in a few spots. Okay, because I still want to be able to see the details. So that's when my crayon comes in. Get a little bit of gray, a little bit of black here. Could use a little bit of brown in there just to kind of pull this brown together, make my artwork come together. So I'm going to kind of push lighter here. My light's going to be shining down, so it's going to be nice and bright, shining down here on Oreo. Okay, we'll leave that for the frosting. Then I'll come around here. This one's going to be a little bit darker because it's hiding away from my light that's coming down. So you have to use your imagination to kind of think about where the light is coming down. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. All right, a little bit darker here, a bit darker down here, hidden. Okay. All right, guys, so now we're going to speed things up a little bit. And you can see I'm using some marker here for some darker areas, and then I will overlap with crayon as well to get even darker. And sometimes we'll just use crayon for those lighter areas, thinking about where the light is coming from. All right, we'll finish watching the rest of the video. All right, catch you later. Alright guys, so then I have my colored in with kind of tints and shades using marker and using crayon. I have my delicious looking, lovely flavored ice cream. A few other tips and tricks I just wanted to mention is that when I'm shading in something that is light, it still is going to have shadows. So I still added a little gray, a little bit of blue here to the vanilla ice cream. Even though it's lighter, it still will have shadows. Just like if you have light curtains, you can still see shadows in the light curtains, especially when the light's coming through. The other thing I just wanted to show on the back real quick is shading in with marker, just kind of on its own here. We'll go over yeah, that's already colored in. So going back and forth, overlapping my lines. And to get it darker, I overlap more. You can have and then I kind of let it dance on the paper to get it lighter. So I'm hardly touching it, going like this. And that will make it lighter. Okay, a few tips and tricks with marker there. The other thing too is you kind of color in the shape of what you're coloring in with marker. Okay, so take your time, guys. I can't wait to see your amazing art. We'll catch you later.